Yes, let's start. Welcome. This first talk of today of the event, actually, one of many to come. Yeah, so glad that you turned up to listen to what I have to say about keyboard accessibility and focus. I would like to thank Øredev for inviting me and giving me the chance to do the presentation. And yeah, let's start. So what will we discuss today? We'll start with people using the web with keyboard. Talk about some shortcuts, interactive elements, focus rings and focus traps, and tab index. I will start with people that use the web, use keyboard to navigate the web. These are, for example, people with a motor disability. Or with a vision issue, including blindness. Then also a lot of the times it's used in combination with a screen reader, for example. And for example, with a broken hand, or even while quickly filling out the form, who uses this last one as well? Yeah, indeed. Yeah, me too. So my name is Tim Damen. I'm a front-end platform chapter lead at the ABN AMRO, which is a Dutch bank. Also part of the Nuxt ecosystem team. Who uses Nuxt? Oh, nice. That's good. Some people. Accessibility lead as well, and I advocate a lot for accessibility. I'm hosting the Focustrap podcast at my own company, Focus Ring. I'm a husband and proud father of a daughter. And when I'm not behind the laptop, I love to go outside as well. So we'll talk about keyboard accessibility in focus. And what is that about? Well, it's ensuring that everything that can be done without a mouse can also be done with a keyboard on the web. And also other devices that act like a keyboard, which are also a lot of different variants. For example, custom input devices, like yeah, you have really a lot of them. With for example, two buttons, or even blowing inside of a tube, and by that giving input to the computer as well. And I'll also demo stuff. For example, on this screen, we have a first demo of what people see when they use the keyboard to navigate. So this is a sample text with a link inside of the text, and when you hit tab on the keyboard, you move between interactable elements. A link and a button are interactable elements, and this is what pop up. So what pops up is the focus ring, which guides you to where you are. When implementing a good keyboard navigation strategy, you should ask yourself the question. Sometimes when doing the development or designing of the web page, is the tab order sensible? And for example, are there not too many tab stops? Well, there's one WCAG success criteria that's about this as well. For example, the skip to main content one, which makes you skip, for example, the navigation, which a lot of the times has a lot of interactive elements, which if you don't have a skip link, you should you focus first all of the navigation links, and then you end up at the main content. But also, think about it throughout your main application as well. And also brought two pictures. So you could say that a focus ring is like a lantern, like a street light. For example, in this case, we were walking, it's dark outside, and the lantern it makes it possible for us to see where we're going. And that's also the case for the focus ring. You're seeing where you're going or what you are doing. And then another one that's nice is, for example, with a smart TV. With a smart TV, you do not have a mouse as well most of the times, but you have this you have a remote, and you can also click on the keyboard, well, on the items inside of the remote to see where you're going. And there's most of the time there's also some kind of focus styling going on, as you can see also in the picture. And also a good tip, never hide or remove the focus ring. I also see this happening sometimes. And yeah, in my very junior years, I might have done this myself actually. But the focus ring is there. It has a yeah, serves a big functionality within the web app. And removing this because you don't like it, or yeah, for whatever other reason you might remove it, removes the ability for people that use keyword navigation to see what they're doing. And then there's this nice presentation by Laura. So yeah, I think this is a really nice one. And it's called "You Wouldn't Steal Their Cursor," because that's literally what you're doing when you hide the focus ring. So some basics keyboard navigation listed on the screen. You already saw me demoing some basic movements. So you can use the tab to go to the next interactive element, and shift tab to go back. So forward is just single tap, and shift tab is backwards. Enter or return to activate some interactive elements like links or buttons. The space bar to activate stuff like checkboxes and select boxes. And you can use escape to close some type of content like models or navigation menus. There are the arrow keys as well. You can use them within some patterns to move the focus as well. And I will demo all of this later as well. What is a good focus style? Well, good focus style is visible, and it well, in the WCAG it says you should at least adhere to 3:1 contrast against all the adjacent colors. Yeah, I would play it safe and go even higher. And the focus ring should be consistent. So in a large complex web app, for example, where lots of different teams are building stuff on the same page, you could end up having multiple types of focus ring styling, which is not desirable. You should try to keep it consistent and yeah, align together on one focus style that's good, that's visible, and that has high contrast. Than yeah, having different ones. And a nice suggestion here is that you could maybe implement is this Oreo focus style. It's Erik de Kroes has a nice blog post about it. Yeah, it's even visible on the screen. And it works like this. So the CSS for it is on the right hand side. And I've had a demo on 3 different backgrounds. So first is the white with some text and a link. And when I hit tab, the focus shifts to the interactable elements, which are the links. And in the first example, on the white background, we have 2 rings, which are black. And then we move to gray, and we already see black and white turning up. And then against the black one, we have white rings. So this happens. So basically, this focus style uses multiple layers of black and white, and in this and like this, black and white have the highest contrast against each other. And with this, you can be 99% sure that you have high enough contrast against all the background colors that you might have on your website. Yeah, what's good to know is that only one thing at a time can have focus on the web page, not multiple ones at the same time, only one. And the interactable elements, I already mentioned them a couple of times, which are, for example, the button, link, input fields, details element and the select. I brought a few as well. So, for example, the button and the link. Activate the button with spacebar, or the link by hitting enter, for example. Then we have this nice one. I don't think it's used a lot, but this is an input field with type color, and it's fully keyboard accessible, so by default. So I didn't do anything to it. I just we focus it, hit enter, and this box opens. We can move the circle very slowly, but there it goes. And even the other elements as well. So the slider, we can make it blue, for example. And even the boxes on beneath are keyboard accessible. And we just hit enter to input the color, and color changed. So very nice input default element, I would say. And we have the radio buttons and checkboxes. These are a little bit different. So inside the radio buttons, you can move, if you mark it up correctly, like this. You can move between them by using the arrow keys. Of course, we like coffee. And then when we are on the checkboxes, we cannot move with the arrow keys, but we use the tab and shift tab to move between them, and spacebar to select. When someone remove the focus ring, and you need to find it back, for example, and you can't figure out a way, you can add this into the console, and you get notified by console log on what element has the focus at the time. So maybe a nice tip. And then you can also set the focus with JavaScript. So you can use JavaScript to focus an element, for example, with the dot focus method. Then it's time to talk about Focustrap. What is a Focustrap and when do you need it? Well, Focustrap is happens when you need it in like a large overlay, for example, a model window or a large navigation screen that takes out the majority of the screen and you can't go around it. You need to interact with this element. Then you might need a Focustrap, and a Focustrap makes it so that the element that overlays the other content on the screen, the focus is trapped inside of this element. So the focus can't go underneath it. For example, what might happen when it is the case that you can go underneath it. Let's say you're at the last interactive element on this overlay, and you hit tab, then you might be happening that you go underneath this overlay and you can't see the focus ring anymore. That's why you need the Focustrap when you implement these types of patterns. And how you can do this by using this simple code. Hidde de Vries has a nice explanation about how you can do this with JavaScript. I would say it's still a relevant blog post. Would definitely check it out to see how he explains this. I will not explain it fully, but what he does, he opens a dialog element with show focus, and then he has a custom trap focus method function created, and he also implements that on the element, and then the focus is trapped inside of it. What you can also do nowadays is use the dialog element, which is a native HTML element that everyone can use. It's also currently implemented in all the major browsers, so you can safely use it. And it's also more accessible than ever. So a long time when it was implemented, for example, only in Chrome from 2014 on, it wasn't an accessible option. And it wasn't also implemented in the other major browsers, so nobody was using it, not a lot of people. But now I think it's a good option. So what you can do with the dialog element, like in the last slide, you can open it with show model, and that's basically an open and close mechanism. So that's the default feature of the dialog element. So you can hit show to show the non-model dialog, and then it opens in the DOM. And you need to basically trap focus yourself and style it yourself where it's for example positioned. But you can also use the show model method, and then the dialog is opened as a model dialog. And the difference between a non-model and a model dialog, we'll demo it. Let's do this first. So I've added two dialogues, and I will open them differently by using the show method first, and then the show model method. And will do a little bit of an accessibility check. First, the show method. So this is the show model. What's nice to notice is that, let me close it first. So what's nice to notice is that when I hit enter, when I activate the dialog, you can see that the focus ring, so the focus shifts to the first interactive element in the dialog. This is a default feature of the dialog, so you get this functionality for free. What's nice, so there's new context added on the screen. It overlays the other context, so it's good practice that the focus ring, the focus shifts towards the first interactive element in the dialog, which is nice. You also get this with the show method. Then the focus should be trapped. Well, that's not the case. So as you can see, I can go outside of the context of the dialog that's just been added. So with the show method, that's not something that you get by default. Closing with escape also doesn't work when you open it with show. I think in some browsers it does close, but it really depends. In Chrome currently it doesn't close. And when the model closes, then the focus should be shifted back towards the element that opened the dialog, which is happening with the show method as well. So 2 out of 2. And yeah, you could implement it like this as well, but then you just need to make sure on whether, well, depending on the context and your situation, add these extra features yourself, or add another way to do these, add these features. With the show model method, we basically get everything for free. You can see that the styling is a little bit different. That's because the dialog is now opened not inside of the main DOM, but it's opened inside of the top layer. And top layer is a nice topic for another time, but basically the top layer is a layer above everything else on the DOM. So you have the normal DOM, and you can overlap things with, for example, with C-index. But then you have the top layer, and the top layer is above everything else. So it's completely in its own layer. And for example, the top layer is also used when you maximize a YouTube video. Then your YouTube video gets taken to the top layer and maximized, because in the top layer, not a lot of elements are there, and you can easily maximize, for example, the width to 100%. So when you use show model, your dialog is opened inside of the top layer. That's one. And the focus is trapped. So you can see focus is not going outside of the dialog. It continues in circles, which is good. As you can see, when I open the dialog, it's opened and the first interactable element is focused. Now, I can also close with escape, like I just did. And when the model is closed, the element that opened it gets the focus back. So checks everything. All right, last topic. Tab index. Tab index is a little bit of a tricky feature. And I will show you some examples on what you can do with it and how you could use it. But always use this feature with caution, I have to say, because you can, if you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't use this feature at all. So the tab index is an HTML attribute that you can add to elements, to HTML elements, and it alters with the tab order. So you can basically specify your custom tab order, or I can even give elements that shouldn't be able, well, are not able to receive focus by themselves by default. For example, a div, you can give it a tab index value of 0, for example, and then you can give it, then it is able to receive focus. You basically have 3 options with tab index. You have the 0, the -1, and the plus values. Let's go over them. So the normal tab order is from top to bottom, from left to right, like so. So no tab index currently implemented. And I can move over to the button input button link by using tab and tab shift. Then now, making a non-interactive element be able to be focusable, you can do this with the tab index value of 0, adding it, for example, to a div. For example, these two, I give it tab index 0, like you can see right now. Here it is, tab index 0, tab index 0. And the button, of course, naturally, it's focusable. And then the -1. So with -1, the element can receive focus, but it's not added to the tab order. So currently the div is in the middle between the link and the button, has tab index of -0, and I can't focus it by just going through the normal tab order. But when I click on this button, for example with enter, the element receives focus, and it receives focus by the JavaScript method that I showed in the previous slide, the focus method. And currently, this is how it's working. So the .focus method is used on the tab index div with -1, and it's focusable with JavaScript. That's something you can do with tab index -1. You can, for example, implement this inside of a custom design system element or component that you're managing, or managing. You, for example, need to give an element focus that's under specific conditions focusable. But already with tab index, you're already getting into onto the side of you should really know what you're doing. Otherwise, messing up the tab order is one of these things that's really irritating for a lot of people when it's not correct or not working how it's by default working. And that's also when we are getting to the plus values of tab index. With the plus values, you can basically, it's like the Wild West of tab orders, because you can do, you can mess up things really quickly, and you can basically come up with your own tab index, like so. So, for example, I have 4 buttons now, and tab index 1 currently has the focus, and when I hit tab, well, now this second one is focused, and now we are going what usually is the first in the order. Now has the last input, and now we're going to the fourth again. So you can do really custom stuff with the plus values. Yeah, and this is not something I would recommend, even implementing when you know what you're doing. All right, and that's already at one of the last slides. So short summary, we talked about people using the web with a keyboard, shortcuts, interactive elements, focus rings, focus traps, and tab index. I'm going to thank you all for listening, and have fun the rest few days, and today, of course, with the other talks. You can find slides on talks.timdamen.io. And of course, I would like to stay in touch with all of you or answer any questions today or online. You can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, thanks.